It's 2023 and New World is finally released. We are discounting the alpha that released in 2021, it doesn't exist for this video. Sure, it hasn't improved its optimization since its release, but it is a fantastic game to run if you're trying to find failing hardware or software. Thank you New World to the numerous blue screens and crashes during the recording of this that eventually brought to attention my corrupted RAM driver. So if this game has given me anything close to satisfaction or enjoyment, it's the knowledge that I can stress test my hardware by my own means. Welcome to the worst review, where I try an MMO from the beginning and use my short attention span and lack of reviewing skills to see how your favourite MMO stacks up to the rest and to see if it's worth playing to endgame. I'm Dying Legacy, and this is New World. Thrown into an era of conquistadors, we are treated to a cutscene that shows a captain charting a course to mysterious waters in search of an island, with promise of wealth and power, the opening to an Hailstorm song basically. Once we are on open seas and within reach of a fabled island, we are prompted to create our character. As usual, I shall just be making me. We have a decent amount of customization for our character, and once I've chosen a look resembling myself, I quickly realise I'm in need of a haircut. So thanks New World, pointing out hardware issues and indicating the laziness of my personal appearance. As of late, I shall be sticking to my online moniker of Dying Legacy, and once I finalise my character choice, there's a loud bang as if the ship is hit by something, and the game begins with us crawling out of the sea onto mainland. I'm guessing this is a euphemism for the game crawling out of the primordial ooze and resembling somewhat of a game. We find ourselves in a ship graveyard. I don't get much time to gaze upon the broken carcasses of ships around me before I am introduced to combat mechanics. Which isn't a bad thing by all means, quite cinematic and easy to follow. Once I've beaten this crazy crackhead, I chat to the captain of my ship, who's not doing too hot, and mostly talks about how he regrets his decisions and choices that led to this point. And once he passes on, I get all of his items. So win-win all round. I follow the game tutorial, doing as I'm told and following all the command prompts like a good little gamer. And if you want to be a good little gamer, you'll like, comment and subscribe for more if you know what's good for you. Who says mild ambiguous threats can't gain channel support? Stay in school, eat your veg, and follow the tutorial. Once we've learned all we can, we are introduced to a view of the island, quickly followed by a boss fight where we have to use all that we have learned to beat a somehow still alive and corrupted Captain Thorpe. We knock him about with the equipment we took from his corpse, and he beats me in a cutscene. Yay, I love it when a game cutscene's my fun. Following the cutscene, I am suddenly standing on a new beach and prompted that I have leveled up. Let's see how that works. So, New World has an interesting level system. You choose the stats you want to boost, and those stats will impact the weapons you use. Each weapon has a main and secondary stat that it scales with, so you want to boost the stats to match the weapons you want to use, as well as boosting your health through the Constitution skill. Every skill has milestones that add perks, such as more critical damage or making you better at gathering or other things. So far, I'll go with dexterity as I plan on using a greatsword and bow. I just need to get those. Once I've made the mind-taxing decision of placing my points, I talk to a quest giver in front of me. He's fully voice acted, just like the tutorial, which works out for me because I don't read. Give me a wall of text and I'll show you how quick I can accept and leave. It's still in the tutorial stages. It seems to be asking me to hunt boars and learn how to skin and cook their meat, which, as far as MMOs go, it's one of the better introductions to a gathering and crafting mechanic, having me to do the task and making it somewhat integral to survival. I tend to need a lot of hand-holding at times, as I have a problem with retaining information if it's not practical. I'm a doer, not a reader, so I craft a skinning knife at the nearest fire. Not sure how that works, but we'll chalk it up to magic fire. In the process, I eyed up the fishing rod that I can't quite craft just yet, but soon. I now know I can fish. Once I shake the glorious thought of fishing from my mind, I go hunt some boar, craft some food out of said boar, and while handing the quest in, notice that New World might actually be alive again. This is like my 5th worst review, and I'm not used to having this many players around. It fills my void-filled chest cavity with hope. I continue questing on the beach, fighting through the hordes of players to get to my objectives, which aren't overly varied at this point. Early days, obviously. It's the usual for an MMO in all honesty, so I can't really complain as I'm having a good time and the combat is carrying the experience, along with the amazing scenery and sound design. I don't have any real complaints. Or because I'm enjoying slapping enemies around with my sword that I haven't actually noticed any glaring issues or annoyances. Well, until I take a shortcut through open water to get to an objective and I Pirates of the Caribbean walk my ass on the sea floor to get there. But for the sake of immersion, I tell myself it's because my equipment's too heavy and not buoyant enough, and I continue to slap the undead and creatures of this environment around with my new shiny greatsword. Through this endeavour, I met Grace O'Malley, the Pirate Queen of Ireland, and 'tis all I have to say about that. This nets me the musket I wanted in the end, and I reward myself with lumberjack action, which I enjoy far more than I would think I should have, which actually might be a sign of my mental instability. While all this is going on, my musket levels up, as weapons in New World have their own levels and skill trees. And it's pretty straightforward and easy to follow, so each weapon gives you a choice in how it's used and what skills you learn for the weapon. After some time of slaughtering my way around this coastal setting, I'm told to make my way to town. On my way to civilization, a disembodied voice starts to speak to me, making me wish I had some kind of mind VPN. And a cutscene kicks in to explain this voice's backstory. I should mention that I have been hearing the voice a lot through my adventure so far, but I largely ignored it as my mind kept wandering, as I was only focused on hitting things with my sword, like any good adventurer would. It takes me some time to get to the town of Pridewin, as I spend most of the time procrastinating, cutting down trees, mining boulders, and rummaging through bushes. Oh, and I drowned. That may have held me up a bit more. You see, New World works on a respawn system, which is explained that nobody dies in Avernum. We are all cursed with undeath here. And eventually you just go mad, and everyone I was putting 6 feet under on the beach were people who eventually went mad. I am tangenting a bit, but the key word is respawn, because I respawned on the beach. You can create your own camp anywhere in the wild at any time to set a respawn point, but because I was having fun hitting things and not swimming, I didn't pay attention to the camping tutorial and forgot about it. What has this to do with the game, you ask? What's the glaring problem that has led to this rant? Nothing, not a single issue. I'm just venting about my own stupidity. It held me up a lot. Anywho, I eventually arrive in Pridewin, which is glorious looking. Back when New World first, open brackets, released, close brackets, they basically had one town that they placed copies of around the map. However, they have since updated all the towns to be their own unique standalone areas. And are all individually unique, and are really nice. I actually feel like it's a town and it's lived in, which is only bolstered again with the amount of players around. I escaped to MMOs so I don't have to see people. And now I see people. I am very conflicted. What a sticky dilemma of anxiety I find myself in. I do the MMO thing of meeting everyone in town via quests and stumble upon a cow that I can milk. Openly. In front of prying eyes. It doesn't count as theft and the cow seems satisfied, so I'm satisfied. I continue bantering with the locals and set out to fix their problems. Don't worry, just like every other MMO, the citizens are incapable of completing the simplest tasks and instead ask you to do it for them, the hardened adventurer in need of coin. It's still early in my adventure and I'm still in the first region of the game, and I have come to realise that there isn't any loading screens, the world is fully connected. Excluding dungeons that have portals, but the scenery is distinctive and vast. It subtly changes as I toddle along my journey. I spend a lot of time just gazing out at horizons and tree lines. And the sound design suits every step I make. I'm not sure I've played an MMO where the sound is this immersive. There is background music, but it's ambient and it doesn't overshadow the sound of nature. Anywho, back to Pridewin, to hand in what every fruit or candle I had to fetch. Once I hand them in, my map levels up. Strange. Oh, alright, I leveled up my reputation with Monarch's Bluff, this area of the map, which allows me to upgrade what I can do in this area with choices like quicker standing gain, bigger storage banks, or gain experience quicker. This goes for every region. You get a choice of 3 upgrades every time, and they stack. If you get a 2.5% XP gain increase, you can get another 2.5% XP gain increase the next time it's a choice. So the more you quest in an area, the more benefits you get from it. So I keep questing, following the story around Monarch Bluff, and discover the game has a compensation window. Yes, compensation. You know, when game time is disrupted. Which means if you have a designated window for that, it's to save time. Meaning it happens a lot. Oh, New World. Though, to be fair, in my playtime of about 60 hours for this video, there wasn't really any issues. Granted, the dungeon group system did break a little, and you could raid dungeons, which were originally meant for 3 to 5 people, but through a glitch you could do it with 20 or more people. It didn't really disrupt my time. If anything, it made other players happy and ecstatic, and I'm happy for them. Eventually, my scenic travels of Quest Slaughter earned me enough XP to hit level 20, and unlock PvP arenas. I love PvP, so let's have some of that. I check the PvP screen and find that at level 60, PvP scales gear to level 675, if you're below that threshold, which I would assume means you can have better gear than that and perform better. I also realise that below level 60 your games are in level brackets, so players level 20 to 29 play together, and players level 30 to 39 play together, so on and so forth. And I hear you asking, how are players scaled to play each other? Well, after spending almost 8 minutes waiting for a game, which isn't half bad really, I discovered that it isn't. As you would expect out in the open world where a level 20 duels a level 29, the level 29 player throws the level 20 around like a dog playing with a chew toy, and this translates to PvP exactly the same. Which gives me Warsong Gulch flashbacks as a twink, and I now know how my victims feel. Abused and ashamed. I had fun though, which is all that matters, and is the first glaring issue I had as I played for my many hours. This was the only time I found a match for 3v3 arenas while under level 60. I queued for 3v3 arenas on many separate occasions for up to 4 hours and got nothing. Not a thing. I would have thought a game that had to wipe out and merge so many servers that they'd just scale everyone to a set gear level and throw them in together. Look, I'm not a game developer, but I'd assume that that's food for thought at least. But long story short, I got destroyed and went back to killing AI. And during that slaughter, the time had arrived. Fishing. I still wasn't able to craft a fishing rod myself, so I headed off to a trading post at some point and just bought one. And when I finally happened upon a river, I cast that line like a man sipping his first sip of water after spending weeks lost in a barren desert. And pretty good actually. Relaxing as fuck. Simple mechanics, but sometimes the best fun is simple. Cast a line, wait for a fish to bite and reel it in. Stop for a moment if the line's gonna snap and keep reeling in. I'm starting to realise I should just rate MMOs on how well they do fishing mechanics. There's hardly an audience out there for that, is there? Who am I kidding? There's probably Rule 34 content for it. Therefore an audience. One quick soul-destroying and eye-opening Google search later, and yes there is. Not sure why I needed to know, but now you know too. Following this newfound knowledge, I find my main story quest, who is to find Giannis, who's a fisher. See? New World knows. More questing, and I find myself in the town of Oxborough, a very Victorian town, again full of players, none of which play 3v3 arenas apparently. It is here in fair Oxborough where I learned to play an instrument, but I can play like a simple version of a Guitar Hero. You can unlock songs as rewards or drops. Playing a song can reward players with buffs if they're standing in the vicinity, and those same players can tip you for your performance. Nobody tipped me, and somewhere deep inside I knew that if I were them, I wouldn't tip me either. Music even comes with its own skill levels. In fact, all forms of crafting and gathering does, which enables to gather and craft higher level items and things, as you'd imagine it would. Here is also where my journey to join a faction begins. There is 3 factions in New World: the Marauders, who prefer to fight as militant soldiers, the Syndicate, who are in search of knowledge by any means necessary, and the Covenant, who might as well be the Spanish Inquisition, stamping out whatever they deem as unjust. You can swap between factions if you're not happy with the faction you've chosen, so you aren't locked into the choice. But factions have their own system in New World, by taking territory, which can give increased experience gains for that faction in that own territory, declaring war on other factions, and participating in open world PvP. So it's not just for aesthetics. I chose a faction, but I don't really do anything with it. Each faction has its own ranks, with its own rewards and armour and such. Not much I can delve into it bar that. Doing all of this got me to level 25, which is a big step. It meant I could finally unlock a mount, which I now need as I spend most of my time walking from point A to point B. It also unlocked the Season Pass. Yay! Much wow. As seasons go, it's nothing radically different to any other Season Pass or Battle Pass. Complete objectives, level the pass, get some rewards. If anything, I kinda found it more annoying, as you're required to do random menial tasks to earn stamps, to fill out a stamp card that gives you experience to level up the Season Pass. More player input doesn't always make things more fun. Sometimes it makes it more dull. At least with a normal Season Pass, it ticks away in the background, notifying us that we earned some new shiny thing. While in New World, it makes you sit there and watch as you earn the next shit-tiered reward. It's like watching paint dry, except you can't walk away as the paint only dries when you watch it. Anywho, I needed a mount, and that's what I'm getting. So I go talk to a man about a horse and set out to tame my first mount, only briefly stopping for a moment to fish. The quest is straightforward: talk to man, walk the horse bathing in moonlight, feed horse oats, horse becomes a spirit and fucks off to heaven. I walk back and talk to man, and I can now ride a horse. And I, never having rode a horse in my life, must now do a time-trialled race to strengthen my bond with my newly revived Jesus horse. I do the trial race and enjoy the mounted experience. My horse has weight to it, has its own skill level that when increased improves its speed. I hand in my completed race quest and notice the man aptly monikered the Horse Whisperer, which says more than I needed to know, sells mounts. He sells one mount, the rest are from the real money store. So let's see how much a mount costs. First off, I have 20,000 coins. Free, mind you. Not sure how or why, but sure, I'll take it. And oh look, the mounts are valued at 15 to 20,000 coins. So the coins might be from an expansion thing. So yeah, know what? After some window shopping, I bought a horse. And now that I made myself feel good, let's make myself feel bad by looking at the actual shop. It's grand, actually. Nothing too grievous. Lots of cosmetics and dyes. You can buy experience boosters for your gathering and weapon XP, but not your character XP. And no pay for power. Come on, Amazon, you don't let your employees take a piss without firing them, and yet your cash shop in a pay once, play forever MMO isn't a hellscape. The fuck? Right, how much is the currency? $4.99 for 5,000 coins, and $9.99 for 11,000 coins, and $18.99 for 23,000 coins. Christ, even the extra coins per bundle is reasonable. God damn it! Guess I'll enjoy the horse then. Right, I have a quest to do a dungeon. Let's do that to quell whatever the hell it is I'm feeling. I arrive at the dungeon entrance and I can search for groups to do it with. If someone has set up a group, I can ask to be invited. When the group fills up, we head in. Simple. But what's the dungeon like? This dungeon in particular is Amrine Excavation, and it's not bad. It's not a marvel of development by any means, but it's not bad. Follow the dungeon, kill everything that moves, complete a puzzle or two, and beat some bosses. And get better loot than you would doing quests. As I would have expected. I do this dungeon a few times to try and get better gear, and do it with mixed groups every time. Some just as DPS, others with tanks and healers, and it really doesn't matter. You can enjoy the dungeons and not really get held back by your spec. Granted, this is early game, and I would assume nearer endgame it may matter. But as of the minute, it has no impact. The rewards, however, are falling from the walls. Everything drops something and there are chests everywhere. It's loot for days. And when I leave to sift through my bags, I can't use any of it. It's 5 to 10 levels higher than I am. So what was the fucking point in doing it at the recommended level then? Now I'm just carrying sets of gear that I can't use for some time that is clogging up my bags. And adding carry weight, because carry weight's a thing. Right, I'll go back to questing. And while questing, I started to ponder. Why am I playing this? I kinda have more than I need to for a video after 20 hours of gameplay, but I kept playing. And when I logged off, I'd look forward to playing again. This went on for days. I enjoyed the questing experience. I haven't mentioned the story so far, and I'm not going to, as it's worth experiencing for yourself. Everything's voice acted, and it spanned the length and breadth of the island, with side quests galore that are self-contained stories themselves. Along this journey, I started looking at build guides, and there were a lot of them. The musket wasn't working out for me, but I loved the greatsword, so I swapped out the musket for a blunderbuss, which meant I had to respec, which was easy. Take respec straight from my weapon skill tree and from my character attribute screen, pay a small Azenauer gold fee and work away. So you're never locked into playing a certain way, which means I can now freely blow enemies away with a shotgun. I get to testing that and leveling my shotgun while also queued for 3v3 arena, because I'm an optimist. One day I'll get a game. You know what? How about I just ask the community and see if they can shed any light on the situation, or give me their thoughts in the game even. So I boot up a stream, I start playing, and nothing. No one had anything to say. All we did was talk utter shite while I leveled, did some dungeons and ran horse races. Which really sums up New World. A beautiful passion project with beautiful visuals and incredible sound design, and game mechanics they make me go, meh, alright. It's neither crap or amazing. It's an enjoyable experience that you could easily sink hundreds of hours into. Sure, I'm being a bit bland with how I'm summarising it, but it's not all doom and gloom. New World released to the disappointment of millions, and has improved immensely in the last 2 years, and releases content quickly and steadily. I played week 1 of the release, and it was terrible. It's now not terrible and is quite enjoyable, which by itself means little, but I look forward to seeing how New World shapes up in the next 2 years. So far it's gone from a -3 out of 10 to a solid 7. Give it 2 more years and it could definitely be a 10. As mixed as my feelings are, I still pop on and stream it every now and again too, to which has led us to this moment. I award New World's combat and gameplay the "I forgot to set up camp on account of my hitting things" commendation of excellence. I award the PvP the "queue for 5 hours" commendation of loneliness. and I award the gathering and crafting the commendation of "It has fishing, what more do you need?" Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like the video if it pleases you, and comment your thoughts and experiences with New World below, and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this that always inevitably involve me frantically searching for a fishing rod for some reason. You can also follow me over on Twitch, the link is in the description, so you too can share your thoughts mid-stream for my next video, or we can completely ignore the gameplay and just talk shite for hours until none of us knows what's happening anymore. With that, the video's over, and I need some me time. Show yourself out, won't you?